On this day that there was supposed to be a ceasefire, that Israel was 8 days into the war, there had only been an aerial campaign, and Israel was convinced there was going to be a ceasefire. The Hamas had assured the Egyptians, the Americans, and the Israelis through the Turks and the Qataris that yes, they were going to accept this ceasefire. A half hour before the ceasefire begins, they open up with a barrage. It was something like 120 rockets that day.
I remember that.
That was really sleight of hand to take our attention off of what they were going to do that afternoon. That afternoon, they were going to launch their first terrorist tunnel attack. Several days before, there are a group of religious Jews from Bnei Brak who have a small factory that makes what's called matzah shmura. Matzah shmura means literally watched over matzah. It's like the uber kosher matzah for Passover, which has to be watched over from the time the first seeds are planted. They have to be planted according to all the biblical strictures. They're watched over all during the growing process. And every seventh year, the land has to lie fallow. The land gets a Sabbath as well. It's a sabbatical year. So this group of religious Jews was looking for a large field of very green, unripened, tall wheat that they could harvest immediately and store for 2 years, because next year there won't be any wheat. They look all over Israel. They can't find anything that meets their needs. Finally, down in an area called Otef Azah, which is like the envelope of Gaza, right on the border, they find acres and acres of a wonderful field, 5 feet tall, super green wheat, planted according to all the biblical strictures. And they go to the farmers and they say, we want to make a deal to harvest all of it right now. And the farmers said, well, you know, we want to make sure we get the price for it that we would pay in September. And they haggle back and forth, and they say, it'll be a good deal for you. You won't have to work these extra 2 months, no irrigation, no upkeep costs.
Just the expense of growing it, they won't be out.
And you won't have to sell it piecemeal. We'll take the entire crop. You won't have to sell a little here and a little there, but we must harvest today, because every day that goes by, we're losing the ability to store it for 2 years. We want it at its greenest state. We're right now less than 3,000 meters from the border. That's a closed military area.
It's the closest we've been so far. On the border.
Close to Gaza land right now.
Yeah.
As you can see, this field's been harvested and plowed under already. 2 days after they harvest the field, 13 Hamas terrorists pop up from a tunnel right in the middle of the field.
In the middle of the field.
And if you take a look over here, you'll see, not revealing any military secrets, everybody knows it, there's eyes in the sky, there's an observation balloon.
Right, it's like a,
and
I wasn't sure what that was at first.
There are cameras all along this area, and there's a unit of female soldiers, all female, all girls, who watch monitors 24 hours a day, because boys don't have the same powers of concentration.
No, they don't.
When they popped up, as they come up out of the tunnel, they do a ninja somersault and then look around going, where the heck's the wheat field? This was supposed to be our camouflage.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Instead of being invisible, they're now visible to everything.
They're totally exposed.
A 19-year-old girl sees them. She immediately sounds the alarm. There's an aerial asset that engages them, hits them with a missile. We have a special ready response team that engaged them within 90 seconds. Half the terrorists were killed, the other half the terrorists were driven back down into the tunnel. And every newspaper account that you'll find will tell you, but for those religious Jews who were following biblical strictures, we would have had a disaster.
I was in one.